Hey there, time for another installment of Gatelynomics. I don't know how the lighting is in here. Maybe my face looks all shadowy and gruesome. Who knows? By the way, I love this. I have my tripod actually on a low table, so it looks like you're about 6 inches above me. The other way, I didn't like it so much because it looked kind of like you were looking up at me. I'd prefer more or less, I guess this is kind of eye to eye. And you know what? I actually like this thing where I'm standing up because I'm very fidgety. And so that really helps me. Today we're going to talk about making versus finding a job. And it's a bit freeform. I only have very few notes here. So I want you to imagine the following. That every human being on the planet is transported to another habitable planet similar to this one. Oh, and by the way, that's quite possible seeing as there's apparently billions of galaxies in the universe. The chances that there's at least one inhabitable planet for every human is quite high. So anyway, but it's all just a mental exercise. So I want you to imagine this. So everyone's transported to a different planet. Let's assume this happens as adults. Let's assume that each person has some kind of basic survival techniques and maybe even some initial equipment to work with. So you have each person is now by themselves. So if you came back in 3 years, what do you think you would find? On some planets you would find bones because that was my point. Once you're on this new planet, guess what? You have a job. You have a job. Your job is to survive, to effectively do every single thing for yourself, to create your own shelter, to make food or find food, entertainment, make entertainment for yourself. And so there's that. So you'd have a job, come back 3 years later. Some people will be bones, and some people probably would have done a lot more for themselves than others. I would wager that you'd find a spectrum. You'd find a spectrum of ambition. And but in that situation, what you do is directly related to, like the effort you put forth has a direct correlation to what it is that you get. So if you reach out your hand and you pluck a fruit and you stick the fruit in your mouth, now I have fruit in my mouth, all for this effort. And of course finding the fruit tree and figuring out what's poison and what's not. But you get the idea. So I just wanted to plant that seed there that a job is actually, one definition of it is something you do to survive. Or something you do to get ahead. And in a situation like our alien planet, mental exercise, you have a direct correlation between your effort and what you get. Now once you start adding in more humans, like let's say you had an expedition of 10, well now you're going to have 2 guys in charge of providing the food, 2 guys in charge of building shelters. You could probably do a lot better for yourself, even with just a band of 10 people. Never mind that you could then propagate the species. Assuming it was mixed gender. So there's that. So, but of course society is a lot more complex. You have specialized organs, like blue table painting is highly specialized. We just paint miniatures for miniatures battles games. Wow, that wasn't a profession until recently, apparently. No, actually, that wasn't a profession until recently. That comes from increasing specialization. And that's what I've noticed at my company is that the more volume we have, the more specialized the departments are. Like, for example, I used to do all administration. I used to write the checks. I used to pack the packages. I would answer all the emails, take all the payments, and I would do one-man band. In fact, when I started, I did all the assembly and the painting too. One-man band, everything. I'd go out once a week to the post office, answer all the emails, so forth. But now we have a part-time person just doing packing. We're talking like 20 plus hours a week just to pack the packages. Oh, and she packs them really well too. So there's that. Hold on, let me just lower this just a little bit. See if I'm... There we go. That's nice. Look at that. I wonder if I'm not in the shot. All right, well, 5 minutes in, and have I made my point? So my point is, a lot of people tend to say, well, I'm looking for a job, but I can't find anything. And what they do is they put it in an application, they kind of go in hand in hand, I need a job, and when the person says no, there's a sense of powerlessness. Like, I just can't find a job, if only someone would give me a job. Well, that's okay. I'm just suggesting that maybe there's another way to think about it, that you can make your own job. And this, I would never do it any other way, personally. Some people, because some people have different attitudes, is what I meant to say. Like, all I do at Blue Table Painting as an employer, I just arrange resources. So, God, I wish I had my whiteboard, but I don't. So you're just going to have to use your imagination. So you have all these customers, these are people that need a product or service, right? And they're looking for someone to give it to them. Now, in a different type of world, it would be all vertical lines, and they would hook up specifically with the person that would give them that product or service, right? So it could be different things. But let's say they're all looking for the same thing. Well, they could still have lots of different people giving that to them. What are professions like that, where you have very small clientele? Miniatures painting. There's a zillion soloists out there, mostly one-man bands, and then maybe 2 or 3 people sometimes in the operation. Blue Table Painting, I think, does a better job because we've organized a larger group of people to work in harmony to get the same project done. But what happens is that usually there's a company here, and all these threads of money, they go into the company, and then the company pays out, to the employees that actually do the work that the other person wanted, and then they get a profit. Obviously, that's for, all the overhead and risk that the company takes. So it consolidates a lot of things in a good way. Where was I going with that? One way to look at things is to try and think, well, how can I actually directly connect with a customer? So, for example, with miniatures painting, what I found is I only had 10 or 20 clients to begin with, and they were a few of them are what I call sugar daddies, a questionable moniker, they provided me with most of my work, and I was just doing stuff for them, taking care of all their miniatures painting needs, and that kept just one person. I had a job because of that. But I didn't have an employer. It was just me. It was just the customers and me. So if I were ever unemployed, it'd be simple. I would get bleach, and I'd get a toilet brush, and if it came to this, and easy as pie, get a logo or something going on, dress nicely, maybe in overalls, put yellow gloves on, go door to door and clean toilets, $5 a toilet. And I would just bet you can make $15 an hour doing that. But there's a job for you. And I would just bet that, because you think, oh, that's dirty work or whatever. Well, you know what? I'm the father of a family, and I have kids to feed. And I will do what is necessary to make that happen, up to and including cleaning toilets. And you might think, well, Sean, come on. That's just low work. Well, never mind the explanation I just gave. But you're not seeing things correctly, which is, and I don't mean to speak down, I really don't. But you have to be a good businessman. I'm not saying that I am. I'm pretty good, though. I made it this far, so we'll see how much farther I go. The greatest skill you can have is to appropriately value things. So, like this toilet cleaning example, I've actually thought quite a bit about this, and may end up doing this, starting this as another business on the side, just to see if it can be done. So, happy sunflower cleaning. I don't know, I just came up with that. I'm sure somebody has used something similar to that so far. But the value of it isn't the money that you get directly from cleaning each toilet. It's the list, the contacts that you're going to make as you go door to door. So if it were me, let me just give you a sample business plan. I can't write it down. Oh, I wish I could kind of crunch some of those numbers for you. Maybe I'll do that as a separate topic. So happy sunflower toilet cleaning service. You would need to look clean cut. You need to go out in pairs. I think yellow would be a really good color. People associate that with happiness and cleaning. And so in my case, I'd probably take my daughter out, my daughter or my son, and I'd keep my Bluetooth in. And at home, what I would do is I would call every time we went to an address and were admitted in. I would call to check in for the sake of security. Might even keep an open comm channel going, and we would keep careful, meticulous track of our route, of doors that were not opened, doors where we were outright rejected, doors where we might come back later. And so, but what's the math on that? You have to do the math. You'd have to say on our route, in order to, let's say, bring in $4,000 a month. In fact, let's do the math on this. 4,000 divided by $5 each. You need to clean 800 toilets. Divided by, say, 20 working days. Let's take 10 days off. That is 40 toilets a day. And let me tell you, that is a pretty aggressive schedule. But you know what? You do what you got to do. So what you do is your menu that you give, like a card, the menu says toilet cleaning, basic, $5. Advanced, which is maybe you do it top to bottom, and you might, depending on, like, if there's laws prohibiting you from doing plumbing, you might offer, like, do basic fixes on toilets, because those things are always breaking down, right? You're filling a need. And then an advanced one for 15, where you actually disassemble all the screws, you get all the rust out, you really scrub that puppy, and you put in a little cleaner thing in it. Like when it flushes, the water comes out blue. Well, and that's the beauty, is now that and so it looks good. You do a good presentation. You do it like you are here. This is like wedding quality. So you give them this beautiful menu that maybe has magnetic stickies on the back. And by the way, your cost out right now is probably between $200 and $400 to get this thing going, maximum. So you have hygiene, you put on masks or whatever, because you don't want to get sick, because then that's downtime, right? So you're really careful about that. And then you can add things to your menu. You could add repairs to the toilets. You could add different types of cleaning. And let me tell you, I'd pay $5 a toilet, for sure, because it's gross. It's something people don't usually, they don't want to do it. They don't, you gotta have equipment. It's kind of gross. And by the way, huge principle here. So if you paid attention this far, you're about to get a golden nugget of wisdom, which is barrier to entry. Most people won't do a job if the equipment that's required to do the job is above a certain amount. Like, for example, plowing snow has a barrier to entry probably of about $3,000 to get your snow plow and kind of get your thing set up. Most people don't have that kind of money just to plow their walk, or even if they're a business. So you got to identify when you're looking to create your own job to, making versus finding a job. When you're making your own job, you have to figure out, well, where's that barrier to entry? And so back to the toilet cleaning thing, back to Happy Sunflower, right? Is you're not just cleaning a toilet, you are giving happiness. Think about that for a minute. How does it feel to sit on a disgusting toilet? It doesn't feel very good, does it? But a beautiful, clean one that even smells good, that's fantastic. So what you're doing is you're going into this person's life, another human's life, and you are taking the worst, most disgusting, most overlooked, odious task, and you're taking that away from them, and you're replacing it with something beautiful and good that is going to make them happy. And that's fantastic. What are you really selling? And what the real value is, isn't the money you get from cleaning the toilets, it's the contact list. If you did this for a year, and you had, say, 300 people on your roster, just one new customer a day, and I bet you to find more than that, you would need Hold on, where's I going with that? Oh yeah, the value is the roster. Now you've got contacts. You are actually having a personal contact with somebody. Hi, I'm here to clean the toilets. Just like we scheduled. Super professional. It's all scheduled. You show up on time. You're dressed professionally. Everything looks good because you'll be plowing back under. You'll wear like black rubber boots. You'll have some kind of trademark item, inexpensive, maybe even yellow rubber boots. That's how you show up. And those yellow rubber boots, they show you that you are ready to work. You're ready to get dirty. And maybe even get specialized equipment, like some kind of, battery powered toilet scrub. What is it that you could do? You can, and the beauty is you have that menu and you've got your contacts. That's the real value. You're going to spend 1 year just getting those contacts up to where these people trust you. You're allowed in their house. You can chit chat with them when they're home. And now you start adding things. You could add coffee table books as a menu item. Would you care to order any coffee table books? No pressure, low pressure. The lowest pressure would be you leave your menu on the back of the toilet every time. Aha! Now you have a captive audience. They're like, oh man, I didn't bring anything in to read. Oh, well, here's this menu. And they start looking. Do you see the power of this idea? Just a simple thing that everyone goes, oh, toilet cleaning, that's retarded. No, it's not. It's the best idea ever. Boom! Because now, as the years go on, and you have 5,000 clients on your list, now you get employees. And you have standards, an employee manual, and you have an accountant that helps you out. Now you can do more for the community. You're providing jobs, you're doing something that's needed. You have not only made a job for yourself, but you become an employer. An employer is the person that has an idea, takes the risk, lays the groundwork, and reaps the benefits, but also does something great for their community. Not only in the service or product they provide, but in organizing things in such a way that other people can show up and say, I'm in the dregs, I don't have a job, here's something that you can do that's honest labor and holds your head up high. Except, of course, when you're leaning over a toilet and scrubbing it. But you might think that's the lowest form of work, but guess what? Fantastic. Because what if you're doing other things? Because you don't want to go out with your wife and say, yeah, I clean toilets. You might go out and say, yeah, I'm the freaking toilet king, we're on vacation. But you might say, I clean houses, for example. Or however it is you want to frame it. So anyway, so that's just one business plan. There's a zillion other things out there. Find something that you love to do and turn that into, create your own market for it even. But the toilet thing, I think it's pure gold. I think it is pure gold. Fantastic. All right, well, hope you enjoyed, got your inspiration, and remember, don't be afraid. Go forth with boldness.